Hello and welcome to Andy and Iain Talk Networking. So I am Andy.
And I'm Ian.
So Ian, we're how can I put this? Remote.
We are remote.
Remote and live and in person. So it's we're actually in the office today. So we thought we'd take the opportunity to sit and freeze outside to entertain you guys and keep you all entertained with our banter. So Ian, we've got a couple of events coming up in the next few weeks and months.
Yes, we do.
One of which is really focused on security. So we're doing Security Field Day in May 2025.
Yes.
Yeah, 2025. So we're hopefully everybody will tune in and watch that. You'll be able to watch it live, and also there'll be a recap video afterwards.
Yep.
So I think it would be a good opportunity while we're here, while we're getting ready for that meeting, for us actually to kind of talk about maybe some of the subjects that we're going to dig into depth while we're on the thing. So I think probably what we want to start with is a very simple topic.
Okay.
Very simple. And really relevant to the security team, which is incident detection.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Let's start off by kind of at a high level, really understanding what incident detection means to the security teams and the security field and the security operations center, and then we can dig into a little bit about kind of the different ways that incident detection happens, and kind of we'll hopefully see and mold that into something that we can talk about in detail.
I think from my perspective, incident detection, kind of in the context of security, is about being able to spot things.
Yeah.
Being able to kind of detect something that has happened.
Or is happening.
Or happening.
Yeah.
And it could be bad, but also it could be some other attribute of the infrastructure or some attribute of the traffic.
Yeah.
So it's really about trying to make sure that you have as a SecOps team member, a kind of a seamless way of detecting events and issues and things that you are interested in based on the context of your specific security group.
Yeah.
I think if you went through all of the different security tools that exist, we'd be here for well longer than
absolutely.
the 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So the point is to try and say incident detection is trying to really understand what is happening, has happened, or is happening right now. Yeah.
And I think, when I look at it, there's kind of, they have the incident detection, which is what's happening right now in the network. What do I need to worry about?
Yes.
Then you have the incident response, which is kind of dealing with analysis afterwards to a certain extent. So
Absolutely.
One of the biggest things with incident detection for me is, if you look at an event that you might have in the SecOps, you might have a DDoS attack going on.
Right.
You need to be able to recognize it's going on and get all the relevant information in real time that's going to help you to mitigate that problem.
Right.
So that could be, identifying who the source IP addresses are, maybe the source ports that are under attack, the destinations are. So kind of gathering that information as quickly as possible, and then giving that to the person in the the SecOps team, who can then deal with and maybe change the firewall or do some kind of mitigation on it.
I think that's absolutely correct, Andy. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think again there's two parts to it. You have deterministic kind of approach to detection. So you can set up a set of criteria in the rules. You can say, if this happens, then I want to do this, or if something goes above this threshold, then I want to do something. And then there's the more advanced ways of doing things, which we're gonna dig into in depth in maybe a later video for sure. Where you can actually then start to use machine learning. And really, what I'd like to kind of go across to people is the difference between the two. So at a very kind of high level, deterministic is rules based, whereas algorithm based or AI machine learning based is going to come at it slightly differently.
Yeah, absolutely. And so deterministic, is kind of applying a well understood piece of logic to the data, to the packets. Once again, let's keep it in the kind of broadly the cPacket context. And the idea is, and I think you mentioned it, for example, DDoS.
Yeah.
Being able to look at every bit of every packet to kind of spot where things get out of whack. And the point is, because you're using a tool, probe, whatever you want to call it, you're able to do that 24 hours a day, so to speak, right? You're not just having to wait between, I know none of us work 9 till 5. Certainly SecOps teams don't work 9 till 5, but, kind of a typical working day.
Yeah.
Actually, you need to have that tool all the day long, so to speak. So I think that's really important from a deterministic perspective. But it is, you're looking for a particular type of data, as you said. Rules, one way of expressing it, but the idea you're looking for a particular type.
Yeah, it's fingerprint almost. It's a fingerprint of what's going on with the data coming into it. And a lot of the times with those, you maybe not even looking, you may not need the packet. So you need the packet to detect the problem, but you don't need to dig into the packet a lot of the times to be able to mitigate it and deal with it.
Absolutely. Because you're often looking at ratios or, exfil type things, other types of pieces of this puzzle where you can apply logic to the problem. And as I say, the key thing is to be able to do that 24 hours a day. I think that's very important.
And when you actually look at some of the use cases where we can get away with things like, I say get away, but we can use deterministic rules. You've got things like we talked about DDoS, but there's other things like exfiltration where you can say, in an AI cluster, we're looking for people trying to copy that core LLM learnt model data out of the cluster. So, we could look for, hey, all of a sudden I've got somebody trying to pull like 0.5 terabyte of data off of my cluster, and that should be an alarm trigger that's going on, showing us exfiltrations going on.
Absolutely.
I mean, and there's plenty of others, but from my perspective, the other thing is, how can we make security more proactive? How can we let it do more things in the future? And this really comes into the AI machine learning story. So, how can we, using AI, now start to get more of an insight at a security level to what's going on within our network?
Yeah, absolutely. I think some examples of that kind of thing is to try and say, well, actually, you can have events taking place where you could spot it, but actually it is legitimate.
Yes.
Large backups, moving configuration files around. Oh, wow. It's
not, my latencies have gone through. That's not because we're doing maintenance on the network.
That's an excellent one. Yeah. Doing maintenance on the network, actually, you need to be able to factor that in.
Yes. Yeah.
And you can obviously have all these data sources, but then you need to make sure that's working correctly. Yeah. So using like an AI model not only does the 24 hours a day, which is great, but also it's able to say, hey, I've seen this. No, don't worry about that, and you learn, and then you're not going to do that.
Yeah, and everybody talks about AI. I mean, it's obviously the hot word, but one of the things that makes it more powerful is if you can give it context to what's going on.
Yes.
So deterministic is very good at spotting what's happened at the threshold.
Yes.
But with AI, it can say, well, actually, I've got this large file being copied, but I know every Thursday at 4:00 the system goes through an offsite download. That's okay. I know that now that's happening, so therefore I can just keep an eye on it, but I don't need to panic as much. I don't need to trigger an alarm. I don't need to figure that out.
I think that's exactly correct, Andy, and I think the point being is that instant detection in the context of security is a very important area. It's very important. Folks probably, maybe that's why they found the video or whatever, to talk about these things, but moving from deterministic kind of a probe on every port kind of concept, which is really powerful, to then layering that with an AI model on top is really going to take things to the next level.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah. But it's kind of growing that kind of concept, so that the security ops team, which is always under pressure. I mean, I don't know how many times I'm told, oh my goodness, my business is being, kind of DDoSed every day, and lots of groups that are doing that, let's say, and it's definitely a huge concern for people that I'm talking to, at events and other places.
Yeah, no, and when you look at some of the use cases where I think AI is going to really have a big advantage, there are certain applications like, data suddenly changing patterns within the network.
Yes.
And so you could have a situation where two servers never talk to each other in normal operation. Now all of a sudden these two are starting having conversations that we've never seen before. And AI is going to be very helpful at saying, actually something's changed, something's not right. Yeah. Maybe we need to go and look at, is there a bot that's been installed here, or is there something that's changed? So I think that there's a real advantage that AI is going to bring to kind of the network security environments that's going to flag this stuff a lot earlier.
I think that's absolutely correct, and I'm pretty certain that we'll be doing another video on these kinds of subjects in the coming weeks and months, because, as I say, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of questions that I get, questions you get, that we want to be able to try and tackle in this kind of format.
Yeah, no, sounds good. Appreciate your time. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back again, hopefully next time, to talk about a new subject. But once again, please do like and subscribe to the video if you enjoy it. and you enjoy our content, again, please let us know if there's other content that you'd like us to discuss or talk about. So once again, I have been Andy.
And I've been Ian, and here we are in California.
Yes, we are indeed. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again soon.
Bye for now.